Hello and welcome to my channel. I've decided to come back to YouTube after leaving 9 years ago. Much like before, my discussions will be about all things paranormal. Today is my first comeback video, which is titled Extrasensory Perception. Extrasensory perception is also known as ESP. For those of us who possess the gift of ESP, we can receive and process information without the 5 known senses of seeing, hearing, touching, tasting, and smelling. That is why ESP is called the sixth sense. I'm going to describe each of the extrasensory perception gifts I possess. If you possess a different ESP gift that I don't have, please list it in the comment box below. Clairvoyance is the ability to see information about an object, person, scenario, place, or event in the past, present, or future using only extrasensory means. Although this type of extrasensory perception is strongest during meditation, it can also happen unintentionally. The term clairvoyant is comprised of 2 French words, clair meaning clear and voyant meaning seeing. To clarify seeing, this is not done with the actual physical eyes. These visions are received through the third eye. Their third eye, also known as the mind's eye or inner eye, is a mystical and esoteric concept of a speculative, invisible eye, usually depicted as located on the forehead, which provides perception beyond ordinary sight. The third eye refers to the gate that leads to the inner realms and spaces of higher consciousness. When a person with clairvoyance looks into the past, this is called retrocognition. This is an extrasensory perception that allows a person to recognize people, places, and events of the past in detail. For me, I'm only able to look into past issues that relate to me specifically, while others may possess the gift to assist others. Although science is still wary about the topic, people with these abilities are sometimes used in investigative cases. Retrocognition comes from 2 Latin words, retro meaning backwards, cognito meaning getting to know. Precognition is the ability to perceive or see into the near or distant future by means of ESP before an event happens. Precognition is the opposite of retrocognition. The term is derived from the Latin pr, meaning prior to, and cognito, meaning getting to know. The word precognition is often used interchangeably with the terms premonition or prophecy, which only relate to a feeling or sensing that something will happen in the future. Precognitive events usually appear as a short, intense mental scenario or flash. An example would be of a person who is about to board an airplane and has a vision of a crash that is so intense that he decides not to board the plane, only to find out later that the plane did indeed crash. So, we discussed retrocognition, which is visions of the past, and precognition, which is visions of the future. So what about clairvoyance in the present moment? Well, that would be described as experiencing visions as they occur in real time. For example, while a mother is making dinner in her kitchen, her son crawls out the window and into the street. A vision of her child outside in the road pops into her mind of her child being in danger. This vision would seem much like remote viewing. Okay, so we just discussed the first form of extrasensory perception, which is clairvoyance. What you know now, if you didn't know before, is that clairvoyance is the ability to see information about an object, person, scenario, place, or event in the past, present, or the future. Number 2, clairaudience. Clairaudience is the ability to receive auditory information through psychic and sixth sense hearing. Generally, these sounds are heard as whispers from distant places on Earth or in the hereafter. Clairaudient messages may include words, names, phrases, muffled sounds, or music. Distant ancestral or angelic voices may make themselves heard at times of a crisis or another significant time, whether good or bad, that occur in life. Similar to a clairvoyant, a clairaudient person may hear the voice of a spirit during sleep, meditation, or spontaneously. Another similarity is that much like how a clairvoyant sees with their third eye, the hearing of a clairaudient is not through the actual ear. A person who is experiencing these messages may be in a group of people, but will be the only person who will hear them. The best way to describe it is trying to imagine somebody you know calling your name. You recognize the voice in your head, but there is no actual sound from the thought. Number 3, telepathy. Telepathy is being able to read another person's thoughts or to send messages without using any words or gestures. Telepathy is derived from two Greek words, tele, meaning distant, and pathia, meaning feeling and perception. Number 4, psychokinesis, also known as telekinesis. This is the ability of one's mind to have a direct effect on another object without the use of physical energy. Coined by Henry Holt, the word psychokinesis comes from two Greek words, psyche meaning mind and kinesis meaning movement or motion. Most people are familiar with this kind of ESP from television shows like Stranger Things. If you believe psychokinesis, also known as telekinesis, works the same way as this show or any other work of fiction, you will be very disappointed. In reality, psychokinesis is much less theatrical. In my personal experience, I will describe it as my thoughts being in sync with objects such as wood, motors, engines, electrical appliances, and building structures. Inanimate objects will make sounds, turn on by themselves, or stop working altogether based on my thought patterns. Growing up, I was never able to keep wristwatches for longer than 2 weeks before it would stop working altogether. Number 5, psychometry. Psychometry is an extrasensory perception that allows one to infer the vibrations of an object's energy field to know its history. Psychometry is derived from two Greek words, psyche, mind, spirit, or soul, and metron, which means to measure. Possessing the gift of psychometry allows one to pick up on the residual energies and images left behind in an object. Since people are made entirely of energy, our energy leaves an energetic imprint on everything and everyone we interact with. This explains why since childhood I have been obsessed with abandoned houses. Okay, so I just reviewed my 5 extrasensory perception gifts. If you possess a gift that I did not mention, and believe me, there are several extrasensory perception gifts that people possess that I haven't even mentioned because they don't apply to me. But if you do have one of them, please share in the comment section below. Growing up, I was afraid of my unpredictable and sometimes frightening experiences of ESP. Now that I'm older, I appreciate it for what I believe to be a divine gift given to me for protection. I am not able to speak for other people who have ESP. I can only speak from my own experience. Although extrasensory perception is a gift I couldn't imagine living without, it does have its downside since it's not completely understood by mainstream society. I have always questioned why so many people who identified with any religion would seem reluctant to believe in gifts from the other side, especially since the God they claim to worship is a supernatural entity who in all the great holy books performed great miracles directly as well as through gifted ones who were referred to as prophets. Let's look at the 3 main monotheistic religions that account for more than half of today's world's population. These would be referred to as the Abrahamic religions. The Abrahamic religions include Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. All three religions claim Abraham as their common forefather. For those of you who may not be familiar with Abraham, he is the historic figure who showed unwavering faith in his God by being willing to sacrifice his only son. It is through his lineage that, according to these ancient texts, the Torah, the Bible, and the Quran, that the Savior of the world would be born. As I mentioned, the Abrahamic religions account for more than half of today's world's population. The religions listed below are closely related to the three major Abrahamic religions. These religions are also monotheistic and identify Abraham as the key figure in their history. On top of their shared connection to Abraham and being monotheistic would be their acknowledgement and acceptance of prophets. As mentioned earlier, the gift of prophecy is to be able to receive divine messages. The word prophet is someone who possesses these unique gifts. Here is a small list of shared prophets that appear in all three holy books. There are many more, but I couldn't list them all. Understanding the Bible, Torah, and Quran is difficult for many people, even those who claim to be members of religious groups based on the teachings of these ancient texts. What is considered to be sacred knowledge points to the idea that a supreme being is in contact indirectly with humans and has provided guidance and wisdom through those that possess special gifts. These writings also warn about practices of divination that are outright condemned, such as necromancy, soothsaying, and other influences of demons. So one must use discretion regarding where the messages originated. For some believers, gifted ones still exist today in the modern age. For others who describe themselves as people of faith, some seem leery of those who claim to possess gifts, since there have been scandals and much deception of so-called psychics taking advantage of misguided people. However, many of us have encountered religious people who are only open to words spoken by those of the same faith or denomination. If they can't relate to what a gifted person is saying, they are likely to deem him or her delusional and may try to have that person institutionalized. Religion aside, there are some who don't believe in any higher being, such as atheists who cast doubt on divine beings, angelic creatures, and the like. And there are atheists who have open minds and believe in the possibility that people may have the ability to receive messages outside of the other five senses. It is truly a mixed bag of reactions, opinions, and responses when a person is asked if they believe in things like ESP. As a person who possesses ESP, I have experienced too many messages that have come to fruition to ignore and discount as just a coincidence. I fully believe in my gifts, and I encourage you to believe in yours as well. Stick to people who can relate to your gift, and don't try to change the minds of other people. Seek out support and guidance that you need by subscribing to my channel and finding associations in your personal life that support and encourage your unique gifts. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'm looking forward to creating more content and to form a community of highly gifted spiritual truth seekers. So click the subscribe and notification button to be the first to see my new videos. Thank you for watching, subscribing, and being the unique you.